The current age for a person to take a driving license is currently at 17 years old, but some countries in the world has set it at 16 years old. For instance, America. Most of teenagers like to drive fast. Even personally, I do it sometimes for thrilling feeling. Feels like you are on a Fast and Furious movie. Teenagers like things that brings them thrill and excitement even when their life is at stake. However, every action has its own consequences, even speeding on the road. As for that, I really support that the driving age should be raised to 21 years old because of the following reasons. It could be really good to raise driving age to 21 years old, as teenagers takes almost half of the causes of road deaths or injuries. We can see some high profile cases that has sparked which were caused from reckless driving of teenagers. For example, the case of Cameron Herring, where he hit 24 years old Jessica Reisinger Raubernot and her 1-year-old daughter, Lilia, while participating in a street race back in 2018. This tragedy can be taken as a life lesson that driving fast can cost innocent lives. Some of the reasons that we should raise the driving age to 21 years old is teenagers' lack of maturity and experiences on the road. Most likely that they will drink and drive, and teenagers are too attached to their electronic gadgets. So, without further ado, I will be explaining on why driving age should be raised to 21 years old. The first reason is teenagers are not mature enough and have low experience on the road, which will cause a big amount of threat and to themselves, and most important to the civilians around them. Studies has shown a few statistics regarding the severity of vehicle crash caused by teenagers, which include teenagers are 3 times more likely to crash than drivers over the age of 20. More than 2,500 teens are killed every year in car accidents, and 200,000 are injured every year in car accidents in America. Teenagers love the thrill of reckless driving, where they lack of making decisions when it comes to driving. Adolescents are most likely to take risks and put themselves in uncertain situations. Furthermore, I would like to state that the second reason on why should the driving age should be raised is teenagers nowadays, even back in the days, love to try new things, and drinking is one of them. Intoxicating yourself is a self-choice, but doing while driving is not, and it can endanger others. About 1 per 4 of fatal teen car accidents involve underage drinking and driving. About 5.8% of 16 and 17 years old and 15.1% to 18 to 20 years old reported driving under the influence of alcohol in the past years, reports from MADD. About 8.2% of high school students reported driving a car or other vehicle 1 or more times when they had been drinking alcohol. Nearly 60% of young drivers involved in fatal drinking and driving crashes didn't use a seatbelt. 70% of young drivers who died in underage drinking and driving accidents didn't use a seatbelt. Lastly, one of the reasons that we should raise the driving age is because teenagers are too attached to their electronic gadgets, causing them to not concentrate on the road while driving. This which will cause unwanted fatalities. Studies shows that 32.8% of high school students nationwide have texted or emailed while driving, and 12% of distracted drivers involved in fatal car accidents were teens ages between 15 to 19. Talking on the telephone will increase the likelihood of an accident, and it can slow down a young driver's reaction time to that of a 17 years old person. Drivers under the age of 20 make up the largest percentage of distracted drivers. That is all about on why the driving age should be raised to 21 years old. So, I will be concluding on all of what I have stated before. I have stated 3 reasons on why driving age should be raised to 21 years old, with supporting facts and studies around the globe. I can conclude that, firstly, due to the lack of experience and matureness of most teenagers, I have concluded that they are not fit and ready to be driving on the roads where innocent civilians are walking, motorcycling, and others are there. Secondly, based on studies that has been carried out, teenagers takes almost half of the percentage of driving under the influence of alcohol, which is one of the main cause of car crash. Lastly, lack of concentration due to texting and driving by teenagers shows some worrying results, as it has been increasing the cost of car crash over the years. This shows how reckless driving can cause injuries and even death, and we should not copy the actions that I have stated above. This is not only applied to teenagers, but to our whole community as well. That's all from me.